What's up, everybody? Brothers, sisters, psychonauts, and seekers of truth. It is Ananka, and welcome to my bazaar. Today, I'm going to be reading the Norse legend of Odin's Exile. This version comes from the book The Viking Spirit by Daniel McCoy. With all that being said, let our story begin. The gods got together and decided to honor their illustrious ruler by erecting a statue of him in Asgard. They commissioned the dwarves to craft it, and those expert smiths did a marvelous job. It was a spitting image of the chieftain of the gods, emphasized all of his most flattering aspects, and had a powerful air of the wisdom, insight, and warlike prowess for which Odin was so famous. The entire statue, from the top of its head to the base upon which it stood, was covered in gold. When the gods presented it to Odin, he was deeply proud and grateful, and had it placed at the entrance to his court. But Odin's wife, Frigg, was a great lover of gold, as she was of her husband. She yearned to possess such an enormous amount of the precious metal for herself. One night, she had several smiths steal the statue and melt down all of its gold to make jewelry for her. When Odin found the statue missing the next morning, he flew into a rage, and when he found out what had happened, he had all of the smiths executed by hanging. Then, once the statue had been rebuilt, he cast secret seed spells over it so that whenever someone touched it, it would cry out. Frigg had been disgraced by the exposure and failure of her thievery, and she burned for revenge against her husband. First, she slept with one of her male servants and made sure that everyone knew about it. Then, she convinced him to destroy Odin's statue once and for all and hide the gold that adorned it. By then, the gods' opinion of Odin had changed. His wife had put him sorely to shame. What wife of a true man would rather sleep with a servant than her husband? Odin's own actions had brought shame upon him as well. He had been shown to be weak and ineffective in his failure to prevent the statue's destruction. That, too, was unbecoming of a true man. And he had resorted to Sade to further his aims, as he had on countless occasions before. And that was certainly unbecoming of a true man. The gods decided that their leader's manly honor had left him, and that he was no longer fit to be their king. So, at a council they called for the purpose, they banished him from Asgard. This was hard news for Odin, but he took it well. After all, he had been absent from his throne for long stretches at a time before, while traveling far and wide throughout the cosmos on his countless quests for knowledge. So he did the same on this occasion, and put his ill fortune to good use. Years passed. Odin lodged with his many friends in all the worlds held in the branches and roots of Yggdrasil, learned much from them, and accomplished many great feats along the way. But one day, word reached him that his brothers, Vili and Ve, had taken over his position in his absence. They had divided up his possessions between them, but had chosen to share his wife. Ah, Frigg, her unfaithfulness, her jealousy, and her affronts to his honor seemed so distant as to be trivial. And when he thought of his beloved wife, the only image that filled his mind was that of her gorgeous face smiling at him. He began making preparations to reclaim his kingdom. With his sword in one hand and his sorcerer's staff in the other, Odin fought his way back into Asgard, deposed Vili and Ve, and retook his throne. After this shining display of his power, the gods had little reason to doubt his right to rule their realm. So he resumed his old position and savored Frigg's embraces once again.